Hi guys, it's Kelly Taylor here for Honeybee Stamps, and I am super excited to be part of the YouTube Hop today for our Falloween release. So I'm going to be using a couple of new products. This is actually the Falling Leaves 3D embossing folder from last fall release, and I thought I was going to use it, but I didn't end up doing it, but I still love it. Anywho, I am using this seasonal signs, lovely layers, and it also has a coordinating stencil. And basically, it's got 3 different styles of signs and then little accessories so that you can create a sign for every season. And it's super adorable. Today, I'm going to make a jack-o'-lantern little sign for our door because we're heading into fall. So I'm going to use this circle portion of the, or the circle option for the sign. I'm going to cut out some of the greenery. I'm also going to cut out the bow. Now, I choose to cut mine out of white because I like to add the color with my markers, but you could absolutely cut this out of colored cardstock and still get a really beautiful result. The bow has 4 layers, and all of the, any of the lovely layers, Honeybee has on their website, the dimensional layering guides that you can download. Or you can be like me and just pull them up on your computer and leave them there to look at. So I'm going to ink blend my sign. Since this is going to be look like a little jack-o'-lantern, I'm using carved pumpkin, very fitting, I know. And then I'm going to shade it with some crackling campfire and gathered twigs. So before we get too much further down into this video, it is part of the YouTube Hop celebrating our Falloween release. We are giving away 2 $50 gift certificates that will be picked from among the comments along the hop. So please make sure you're leaving some love as you go. That's how you're going to enter to win. And then the winners will be picked by this Friday, August 30th. So very exciting stuff. I super love this release because there's a little bit of something for everybody. There's like really cute Halloween, and then a little spooky Halloween, and then some really pretty fall, and then some really cute fall. Lots of good stuff. So this wood, like the wood texture, you can either do vertically or horizontally. I chose to do it horizontally, and I'm using that same gathered twig. Now I am being very, very light-handed with this because I want it to look almost like you used a paint wash on the sign, where you can still see a little bit of the wood grain, but you know, the color is there for sure. So that one is going to be all done with the wood grain, and then the little jack-o'-lantern. Now they do have another one for fall, by the way. It's like, it says hello fall, and it has like cute little mushrooms, which is adorable. But I really liked it. I thought that this was just such a cute idea, and this is totally something I would put on my own door. So I'm using black soot, and I'm just being very careful to make sure that I don't go over the lines, like the edge of the stencil, but you could absolutely tape it, and then you would for sure not get any ink where you didn't want it to do. You know, where you didn't want it to be. But I didn't have any boo-boos, thankfully. So that puts my little face on him, and then we're going to move on to the die cuts that we have cut out. So for the little hanger, I went with a like blackish gray hanger because I have that black stenciling, you know, for the mouth of the jack-o'-lantern. So I wanted to kind of repeat that color scheme. If you've watched any of my videos in the past, you know I do like to kind of repeat my colors because it helps to give the card a bit more cohesiveness, and also because I am more of like a clean and layered, clean and simple kind of card maker, it makes it a little less busy. Let's talk about this bow. Lots of layers for this bow, but it makes the cutest bow. So with all the lovely layers, I like to kind of lay them on top of each other and figure out where I need to add the shading. And I do that with my lightest color. So that way I'm not getting any, like super dark color on the edges of the layer that precedes it. And I just go through and I mark where all of the shading needs to be with this lightest color. and then I will be able to go back in with my darkest color. Now, I did choose to color this a teal combination, and the teal colors that I have, like, that match my cardstock, the darkest one is a BG49. Oh, wait, I'm going to have to tell you about this. So normally I tell you guys to clean off your coloring surface so that way you don't pick up any unwanted colors. Do you see what just happened to the middle of my bow? I picked up a little bit of that gray that I had down on my glass mat, and it transferred right to it. My marker picked it up, and then I colored it right down. So just make sure that you're doing better than I am, and you're paying attention, and you're getting rid of any of the colors that are on like a non-porous surface, because you can pick them back up and kind of spread them around. So anywho, back to the teal colors. So the darkest teal color I have is a BG49, and I needed something that was going to be just a little bit darker. And so when I need an extra shade that's going to be a little bit darker, I use a B99, and then I go right over top of it with the BG49, and it creates a really nice complementary dark teal. So yeah, just if when you're using your markers or colored pencils or whatever, like, don't be afraid to kind of like mix up what is underneath them and layer over top of them to try to get the colors that you need. So anywho, this little bow is so cute. It's got so many little layers. It's like a double bow, which I never did learn how to do. Like, I used to birthday gifts and Christmas gifts and stuff. I used to do all this time. Not to mention, remember when ribbon was a thing for card making? I did all kinds of bows when ribbon was a thing for card making and scrapbooking. But I never did learn how to do a double bow. So I like that, the honeybee's done it for me, and I can just cut it out of some paper, color it, and have a cute little double bow. The other thing that I did want to say is, this has dies that come with it to give you to decorate it, but you can always bring in other things to decorate your little signs, like greenery or flowers, or, just whatever you wanted to decorate with. After I did, I put my little bow together, I was looking through, because it just felt like it needed something a little extra. And so then in the Scaredy Cat Lovely Layers, which is so cute. It's just adorable. They have this cute little bat. And so I decided that I was going to use my cute little bat to, decorate my sign, even though he's not part of the set. That's okay. We like to stretch our products and get more out of our design. So here I'm just gluing everything down. I do find my tweezers to be super helpful for this, even though once upon a time I was anti-tweezer. I did not see the purpose of them. That's because I had not used them. And I definitely do see the purpose of them now. Plus, back then I wasn't really into, I didn't use a lot of dyes. Things have changed because the industry has changed. But yeah, having the little tweezers to put everything together, super, super nice. So now that my bow is all put together, I can set that aside. And then here is when I decided to use the bat. This is the Scaredy Cat Lovely Layers. The bat has 3 dies. It has a full body. It has the head and a portion of one ear. And then it has the inside ear and the nose. I chose to cut the body out of a glittery black cardstock, which I totally love. And then the gray, I knew that it was going to be too light, but the reality is I am cheap and I didn't want to have to cut into another piece of paper. So I just cut it out of gray because that's what I had in my pile. And then I added the shading to it for his little face with some black and gray markers. I also went in, this is a number 8. Now, typically in a white gel pen, I use a number 10 because it's a bit of a bolder line and it doesn't clog as easy as a 08. But I did use the 08 for this because sometimes you just need a little bit of a finer line. Now, after looking at it, I felt like his little eyeballs were maybe a little too bright. So I did go in and knock them back with a marker. You can color over your white gel pen with an alcohol marker as long as they are dry. So I'm just going to go back in with a C5 and kind of knock that back. These little ears, they're so cute, like little sonars. I started to put them together the wrong way. They need to be lined up on the bottom edge, not the top edge. But that's okay because my glue hadn't dried, so I needed to worry not at all. For the nose and the ears, I am going to add shading to them as well, just so everything looks like it's colored to the same kind of intensity. And I'm going to use an E04, which I actually use for like a Caucasian skin tone when I typically, and then I'm going to blend that out with an R00. So that way it still has a little bit of shading. For the greenery that I cut out, I'm going to do 2 of these so it's symmetrical. I'm going to have one on each side, and I chose to do some yellow greens for this. Teal and orange, like a yellow orange like we have, are complementary colors on the color wheel, and they work really nicely with each other. So if you go out from teal and orange and you do a it's not a split complement, it's like it's maybe a triadic. Anywho, it works really nicely with each other because they're in even parts away from the each other on the color wheel, so they're always going to look nice. So that is how I chose my yellow green. I will tell you that after I did this one, before I did the second one, I did re-ink my YG67 because that thing is dying. So here I'm just going back in and very light-handedly adding in some of the details, just like a little center line and some veins in the leaves, just to give them a little bit more character. And then you can choose to put these together however you want. The dimensional layering guide has you put them together so that they're a little bit closer to each other, which I did like the look of a little bit more. So you're not going to have as much stem. You're going to have, more like of a compact leaf. But ultimately, if you wanted more stem or you wanted to change the way that they looked, you could certainly change that up really easily, just by changing where you adhered your leaves or which leaf you adhered to which stem. So for the sentiments, this is I'm going to find it, Sweet Halloween, I think is what it's called. And yeah, Sweet Halloween Sentiments. And it also has matching dies, and they're adorable. And I chose the one that says Too Cute to Spook because, we have this cute little jack-o'-lantern. And I stamped that in our Brilliant White pigment ink on black after I treat it with my anti-static tool. And then I use some white detail embossing powder to go ahead and heat set this so that you would be able to see it. I went kind of back and forth about a couple of different ones that I could have used. The wonderful thing about all of the honeybee coordinating stamps and dies is if you just flip your stamp over on top of your dies, you can figure out which one is which because they always line up, which is great. So I pulled that out. I'm going to go ahead and cut that out, and then we're going to have all of our pieces parts. Now, there's a couple of things that I did that for my own because I like to add dimension to them, but you don't necessarily have to do them. But I like to include them because this is what I did. So here, a lot of times in my videos, you guys will see me adding cast shadows. And here, I kind of did the reverse. So I drew the line as if I was going to add a shadow, but then I left the part that would traditionally be the shadow uncolored, and I filled in the rest. What that's going to do is it's going to create kind of a lighter area where where it would look like the pumpkin was kind of like carved in. It would be the inside side of the pumpkin. And so it helps it to give it a little bit more dimension because using the black marker to fill in the rest creates a little bit more depth because we have that contrast. But once again, this is really cute without it. You certainly don't have to do this. It's just another thing that you can add. The other thing that I'm going to add is I wanted this to look like it was hanging on a door. And the 2 ways that you can do that with a bone folder are you can have it face up and press into it with your bone folder and have an indent, or you can press from the back and have it like embossed where it would be raised up. So I am going to work on the back of my teal cardstock, and so that way the front is raised up, and this is going to give me kind of like some door-like detail, you know, because you're traditionally, like, your doors do have like some notches and you know, different layers of inset into the wood. And so this is just something else that you can add. So I did mine at a 1/2 inch, and I just marked it just like with a little bit of pressure when I first started. And then from there, I'm letting the lines kind of be my guide. You obviously could do this in a regular, like a scoreboard. I don't have a regular scoreboard, so I use my paper trimmer. But yeah, a scoreboard would probably make this much easier as far as finding the line. But there's a wire guide in my particular trimmer, this one from Fiskars. And so I close that down, I mark it, and I usually don't have any issues. So now that we have all the parts, we're going to go ahead and start building this card together. So I want the hanger to be flat. So I'm just getting everything in position so that I know I'm going to be able to adhere it where it needs to go. And then I'm going to add this on flat. Everything else that I'm going to put onto my door sign, I am going to adhere it all to my pumpkin, but then I'm not going to adhere it to my base just yet. So for the base, this is obviously the teal colored cardstock that I chose. It's slightly smaller than my black card base. And again, just repeating those colors for consistency. I did have a little bit of trouble getting this thing lined up. I don't know why. Like every once in a while, I'll get one that'll kind of like give me fits about getting even like edges when you're using it as a like a matte layer. And so I did have to finagle it just a little bit, but eventually I was able to get it so where it was even. So then here, I'm just going to lay my pumpkin right where my pumpkin door sign, where I want it to go. So that way I can start adding the other layers. So like, for example, this bow, I'm not going to add any adhesive to the top part. I'm only going to add it to the tails because I don't want to risk that it's going to glue to the cardstock in the background. Same thing for my little greenery here. I only put glue on the front of the stems so that way I can tuck them behind and it will adhere to the back of the bow, but not to the cardstock. So this way, it just makes it easier, like with popping things up. If they're already glued together as one full piece, it just makes it so much easier to add the dimensional adhesive. So I opted, as for a little bit of balance, to put my sentiment in the bottom left-hand corner since I had so much going on in the top right-hand corner. I am going to add the foam tapes. These are the larger circle ones from Honeybee. They are not as thick, which I like. It's a lower profile. So I just trimmed them however I needed to for all my little leaves and things like that. I'm going to add that down. And then I'm also going to, because I love the shimmer, I love the shine, I added some clear glitter to the bow and then kind of around the jack-o'-lantern and the part that I did not color in black on the inside of his eyes. So like that edge we were trying to create. And then I'm also going to add just a little bit of white gel pen for some highlights, again, along that same like inside edge in his or her mouth. And then just to the right and left-hand side of the pumpkin. They always have the best gem stickers and pearl stickers. The ones that I chose are the sweet and spooky gem stickers, and they kind of had these orange iridescent ones. So I chose those ones to help me kind of fill in that bottom left-hand corner. And then that is it. That's the whole card. So please continue on through the hop. The link is below in the YouTube description. I hope that this inspires you for your fall and autumn projects. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.